The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. If you're just joining us, we're going to wait a couple more minutes for some other attendees to join. Bear with us. We'll probably get started in about 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll get going then. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks for attending our webinar here on the Lodge of Big Falls in Belize. My name is Lindsay Harshman, and I am the North American representative of the Lodge at the Cassini Collection. We also have Rob, who is one of the owners of the Lodge, calling in from Belize. He'll interject at a couple points in the presentation. Bear with us, his connection is a little slow down there, so there's a little bit of a delay when Rob speaks, but I think it'll be really helpful to have him on and get some additional information from him. So let's get going here. So the Lodge at Big Falls is located in southern Belize. The Toledo District is as far south as you can get in Belize, and it's definitely a lesser traveled area, which I think is really important for a lot of the travelers that go there. You just don't see as many people as you do in other areas, and something that's really interesting about the Toledo District is there's a really intact Maya community in that area, and in Belize, English is the national language, so this is a great opportunity for people to interact with the modern-day Maya. There are 50 Maya communities in that area, and as well as a Garifuna population. So for people who are interested in culture, it's great. The other great thing is for Belize, there is there's a bit of an issue if you're up in the Cayo district or in different areas. Transfer times between activities can be a little bit long. The great thing about Toledo is all of the activities are within about 30 minutes of the lodge. So for families, this is ideal. For people who don't want to spend a lot of time on the road, it's great. Also, the lodge is really small and intimate. It's owner operated, and Rob will mention later. We'll mention later that he and Marta do live on site. So what that does is that just really helps us maintain a really high standard of experience and quality of food because the owners are there and they live there full time. We have 6 cabanas that are traditional thatch style, and then we have 2 new wooden thatch chalets that are really good for families with young kids, people who are staying a little longer. The 2 wooden cabins do have aircon, so if people are traveling in the really hot season, kind of our summer months up here in the northern hemisphere, they can stay in those at request. We also have some excellent top-rated local guides, and the great thing about the Lodge at Big Falls, which I'll touch on, go into more detail later, is that it's really easy to combine with the beach resorts in Placencia and other areas and make a really nice circuit in Belize. And like I said, it's ideal for families as well, which we'll talk about more. So just let's take a look at Belize. To the north is Mexico, to the west is Guatemala, and to the south is, Guatemala and Honduras. So the Turnef Islands, the circle to the far right, that's a really great spot for diving. If you have clients who are really keen to dive and big snorkelers, then that's a really good area. To get out there, we would have to route people back through Belize City, which is not complicated. There's a good network of flights within Belize, but keep that name in mind. Belize City, then going to the left, is circled there. There are 2 airports, the international airport and the municipal airport. When you're booking flights for your clients within Belize, if you have a connection on arrival for them and they're coming into the international airport, please make sure you're booking their domestic flights also from the international airport. Lodge at Big Falls does have a ground operating license, so we can issue flights as well, so Rob can handle that. Continuing to the left there, the next circle is the Cayo district. Some of you may be familiar with lodges like Chaw Creek and Black Rock. Those are up in that area. Also nice to do a combo with Toledo. Continuing further into Guatemala is Tikal. If people do want to go up to Tikal, the best option is a short flight from Belize City, or to head up to the Cayo district and go in for a day trip, which is a long day trip, but it's possible. Heading south, see the Toledo district is circled. Our arrival town is Punta Gorda, which is where the closest airstrip is, and it's about 20 minutes to the lodge from there, so it's really, really convenient. Most of the international flights get in the morning. Your clients can be at the lodge for a late lunch, so it's really good timing. Continuing up, you see the last circle there is the Placencia Peninsula. Say that 5 times fast. And that is a really great, you can see the relation between the Toledo District and Placencia. It's quite close. It's an easy transfer, and we just get great feedback on some of the properties there. So that's a really, really nice option. Looking at a little more detail down in the Toledo District then, you can see the lodge at Big Falls there. There is not a big fall, but there is a really beautiful river, a really beautiful river that kind of hugs the property. And then you can also see there's the Blue Creek cave system, which I'll talk about later. This is just to give you guys an idea of how the distances are. The gauge on this map on your screen is probably about 5 miles per inch or half inch. Lubantoon is that second star. We have a couple really nice Maya sites in the area, which we'll talk about later. And then also the Rio Grande River and Rio Blanco, really cool day trips from the lodge, like I said, all within about 30 minutes. You can see the domestic airports here. There's a really good, pretty reliable network of flights within the country, so it works really nicely. Like I said, we have contract rates, so we're able to book flights within Belize for you. And there's a view of the traditional thatched cabanas there for you. So we have 6 thatched cabanas that have queen-size double beds, as well as a variety of different bed configurations. We are really family-friendly. A lot of the rooms have single beds, and a couple have a set of bunk beds for families, so we do take up to quads. The 2 new wooden chalets have air conditioning and a small kitchenette, and 2 double beds in them. So if you had clients who were interested in those, just let us know. We do have a full-service restaurant and bar on site. The food is really good. We have kind of an interesting mixture of Asian and Belizean cuisine, and really do pride ourselves in the quality and freshness of the food. I like to recommend that everyone who's coming to the lodge take a day to, or at least an afternoon, to just do the on-site activities. We have a beautiful swimming pool, badminton, croquet that people can take out and play, inner tubing, there's kayaking on the river. We have a really great bend in the river right around the lodge, so people can pick up inner tubes and just do a float trip around the bend in the river. The bird watching is also exceptional, so there's a lot of really great things to do on site. Rob's going to just talk a little bit now about the history of how he and Marta started the lodge and how they ended up there, because it's an interesting story. And like I said, they're there full-time, which I have found over the years that I've worked with them, which is going on about 6 years now in different capacities. The quality of the experience is always quite reliable because they are there. So Rob, why don't you talk a little bit about your experience there at the lodge?
Okay, hello everyone. Together with my American wife Marta, we own the lodge. Marta's from Scottsdale, Arizona originally, but we had lived as a result of my career for about 25 years in Southern Europe and the Middle East, from Iran, Kuwait, Egypt, Syria, Portugal and Greece. We arrived in Belize in 2001, and looking around the country, we decided that we would be pioneers in the Southern District. At that particular time, there was 80 miles of dirt road between Big Falls and the north of the country. So it really was off the beaten track, and the road much less traveled. That's changed now. The road is complete and the infrastructure is there. And for guests who like to be early pioneers and visitors in new locations and new destinations, then Toledo District as a whole is ideal for that. As Lindsay had said, we are here throughout the year and open throughout the year.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob.
Lindsay?
Yes, thanks a lot, Rob. we'll have you join us in a couple minutes again. I have to say that I think we have an exceptional staff. Most of the lodge staff has been with the team for 5 or more years, many of them from the start of the lodge, and they are from the local community. So your clients will get a really very authentic Belizean experience, which I do sometimes feel in Belize. It can be hard to capture that soul of the country, depending on where you go. So we don't struggle with that at all, and I do really feel like it's a great place to just talk with people and learn about the different communities that are still really intact in Belize. Stephen is our lead naturalist guide, and he is a local guide who grew up in the Big Falls village. He started working with Rob and Marta at the lodge before the lodge opened, actually, in March of 2003, and he's now an expert birding guide. And he really recently became one of 7 members of the Belize Bird Records Committee that goes, they travel all over the country and verify new sightings and species. So he's really excited about that. He learned much of his birding experience just as a child with his family, and also spending time out in the bush and along the river. He's also worked for 12 weeks over several years helping North American research with mist netting and banding of birds, and he has also taken training courses from the Massachusetts Audubon Society. He's actually I met Stephen the first time I was down there years ago, and he's a pretty incredible birder and can identify most birds in the area just by their call. So I find that if you have clients who are keen birders, he's a really awesome guide and a good fit for them, but he's also a naturalist and cultural guide. So for people who aren't quite the keen, intense birders, they won't be overwhelmed by that. He has a really good, really great balance. And the great thing about Belize is the birds are so colorful and vibrant that I think anyone can appreciate, if they see a toucan. That picture in the lower left, we were actually at Lubantoon last April, and we were spotting a toucan right there in the trees. So it was pretty exciting. Each of the traditional cabanas, the 6 of them, is thatched with bay leaf palm, which is a traditional thatching material. And we've worked over the years, this picture is actually a few years old, but we've worked over the years to build the gardens up. And just the amount of birds and butterflies in the gardens is really impressive. We have hammocks set out, and on all the private verandas, people can just sit and enjoy that nature. It's quite private as well. So here's a sample image of one of the 3 triple room setups. Like I said, with a queen bed and a single. There's also a writing desk and very spacious rooms. The cabanas can sleep up to 4, so please do indicate, of course, what kind of bed configuration you'd like for your clients. They're all en suite. Tiled floors to keep it cool, ceiling fans. Only the 2 wooden chalets have AC, but most of the year we find it's quite comfortable the way that the cabins are designed. Something that's kind of cool is our bathrooms have garden showers, so it's built out onto a private little garden area, as you can see, nicely enclosed. And in that climate, this works really well. We don't have shower curtains. It's built back around kind of the corner, so it's really private, but it just keeps things very clean and fresh, and it's also really, really relaxing. Just some more images here for you. And I do think we have a great swimming pool. It's one of the perfect spots to just hang out and either enjoy a sundowner in the late afternoon. We have beautiful sunsets. Take a dip. It's a great place to relax. We find that a lot of people, when they get in on their arrival day, Rob or Stephen or someone will pick them up at the airstrip and bring them back to the lodge for lunch. And most people that afternoon just want to hang out near the lodge and rest up, lay by the pool, maybe go inner tubing. So that's a really great option for people. We do recommend 3, 4, or 5 night stay as well. We do We do now have the fence built up, so for families it is quite secure, but there's a daytime shot as well previous to the pool being fenced. And then inside the lodge is really nicely done in stone and wood and local art. It's quite comfortable. That's our bar, the Iris Bar, which features some of the local Belizean rum drink specialties and Belican beer and wines, and a lot of, usually the guests gather there before dinner, late afternoon for cocktails, and just has a really nice festive atmosphere. We've worked, like I said, over the years to build the gardens up, and the bird life is really nice. In the morning, we don't really do wake-up calls because you don't need one. The birds will wake you up. For travelers who are interested, just indicate that, if they'd like to go on a birding walk, Stephen will be up early and can take people on a 6 a.m. birding walk just throughout the property, which can be quite impressive, and that's a great start to the day. We set coffee and tea out quite early. We find a lot of people just come up and grab a cup of coffee and relax on their veranda or take a stroll. All of our foods are locally sourced, and breads are homemade. It's really quite nice. With Punta Gorda so close by, we get a lot of fresh seafood and vegetables, and we do work really hard to support the local markets. Then activities in the area. I think that the Toledo District really offers a great balance of culture, adventure, natural history, wildlife. If people are, I'm always really honest, and I think, Rob would agree with this wholeheartedly. If people are really keen to see a large Maya site, going into Tikal or to Caracal, the road to Caracal is very long. But, people need to understand that the sites in the Toledo District are smaller. They're lesser sites. I still find them really impressive, and they're really unique. The thing that you have to remember is that the day that we were at Lubantun in April, there were 2 other people at the whole site. At Tikal, you could have 200 people on a day. So these experiences are great for people who are really well traveled, who want to be off the beaten path, who want a little more space. Like I said, with the flight connections within the country and the relatively short drive times between destinations, if you want to pair it with somewhere like Tikal or Caracal, it's not difficult to do, and we can certainly make recommendations there. I'm going to have Rob just talk briefly about kind of the story behind Lubantun, because it's a really interesting site.
Lubantun is one of the latest Mayan sites in the country and in the Mayan world in general. It was really only occupied for a period of about 250 years. It's got distinctive architectural features, but it's probably better known for the discovery of a crystal skull, which was apparently discovered there in 1926 by a British adventurer, archaeologist, who, with his adopted daughter Anna Mitchell Hedges, she discovered the skull there, and the skull itself is made from a single piece of quartz crystal. It also has a movable jaw, which is also from the same single piece of crystal. But archaeologists do not approve of it, or they poo-poo it, because they are not quite sure of the provenance given the people who found it. But nonetheless, it's an interesting artifact in its own right, and is at present in Chicago, and the archaeology department in Belize is trying to recover it and bring it back to the country. Some years ago it was examined by Hewlett-Packard in their labs in Palo Alto under electron microscopes, and one of the interesting features was that they discovered they could not discover any signs of marks of people working the crystal. So while the archaeologists are not able to 100% link it to Lubantoon site, it's an interesting feature of the site. Down here we also have a row of villages going out westwards to Guatemala, and that is thought to be a jade route and an ancient trade route. But Lubantoon had a quick ascension and an even quicker decline, and was really only occupied for about 250 years, unlike many other sites which were occupied for 1,000 years or more. Lindsay.
Great, thank you, Rob. And then another really interesting feature in the Toledo District, like I said, is the contemporary English-speaking Maya communities. These are the modern-day Maya, and I spend a lot of time in Central America. I go about twice a year. One of my dear friends owns a lodge in Guatemala, so we're down there a lot. And I do have to say that Belize is really unique because of the English-speaking side of things and the ability to communicate with a lot of the indigenous people that in other countries, you have to work through a guide or a translator. And so I find that people are really very pleased and excited to have that interaction and learn about how these Maya families live nowadays. And like I said, the 50 villages in the area, there are two different Maya communities in that area, and we work with two different families. Actually, I'm going to have Rob kind of give a little brief history on the background of how our Living Maya experience got started, but the two families, one of them focuses on these traditional crafts that you can see in this photo in the background, and those were not initially made for for tourism and for tourists to purchase. Those crafts are actually crafts that the Maya communities use. So this family runs a small shop that other Maya people would come and buy from. And the other family that we work with, they actually have a very traditional kitchen, and so that experience is based on kind of the traditional food preparation techniques. And they're both really interesting and different. If your clients have time to do both, I recommend that. If they don't, you can definitely let us know what their affinity is, whether they're more curious about the food aspect or the craft aspect, and we can kind of tailor that. But Rob, can you just briefly talk about how the Living Maya experience got started and some of the recent funding?
Yeah, just over a year ago, the Belize Tourism Board, and as part of its sustainable tourism program, announced that there was funding available to develop small micro cultural tourism businesses, and two of our staff had been very interested in developing something along these lines and weren't quite sure how to go about it. So the Sustainable Tourism Program of the Tourism Board gave them that opportunity. We first met with two consultants from British Columbia, Judy Karwacki, who is a consultant, and Cheryl Chapman, who's a First Nation Canadian who has been working on the development of cultural tourism in BC for about the last 20 years or more. That project developed. We received training. The consultants came back again. We made an application for a grant for development of their homes and their houses, and were able to acquire a grant of $11,000 US to improve the facilities at both of those houses. And it was also supplemented by a small grant from Adventure Life in Billings, Montana. So from those two sources together, the Cal family that presents the traditional Mayan home and traditional Mayan way of living, and the Chaks, who you can see here, who are focused upon a variety of crafts, are going to be able to develop their own tourism businesses, and we're building them into packages and going to help them to market to other lodges and tour operators in the south of Belize.
Great, thank you, Rob. So then another experience that I think is really unique to the Toledo District is the cacao, the chocolate industry. Our travelers do have the variety, or the opportunity to experience a variety of activities, basically from farm to the actual processing of the chocolate bar. If any of you are familiar, or if you're in the Seattle area with Theo Chocolate, they're doing some things in the area, Green and Black, which you can find at Whole Foods or a lot of high-end grocery stores. They actually have a Maya Gold chocolate bar. That chocolate is grown, that cacao is grown in the Toledo District from a local farmer. So there's some really interesting opportunities there, and we find that guests they do really enjoy learning about the process. Not everyone experiences it from start to finish, but we do try to incorporate different elements. Also in the Living Maya experience, the day that we were there, we were roasting some beans and drinking some of the local chocolate drink that they make. So it's a very interesting experience and process. Depending on, if you have clients who are really interested in the culinary side of things, please do let us know, and we'll incorporate as many of those experiences as we can into their stay. The activities are quite flexible, because our guides are on staff and we have the capacity to really tailor itineraries to what your travelers are interested in. And then on the active adventure side, the Blue Creek Cave system is very close to the lodge, and I think it offers a really nice opportunity. Belize is famous for its cave network. It's one of the most extensive cave networks really in the world. This is a great opportunity to, I would say, almost anyone could do this cave activity. The hike up to the cave is on a rocky pathway, but anyone of an average fitness level can do this. As you can see, we take families in. The water is a little chilly, but it's manageable. The current is very mild, so it's easy to swim up into the cave to the waterfall that's the source of the river. It's a really interesting experience. Also nearby, when I was there last April, the water wasn't so clear, but this is Rio Blanco, which is one of our favorite spots to take people. We do a beautiful picnic lunch looking out over the river. You can jump in and swim. You can hike up away from the waterfalls and go birding, and it's just a really peaceful, great spot to hang out. So that's one of the highlights, and also very family-friendly activity. Additionally, we've been working on some new activities in the last year. The Living Maya experience is one of them, and then also there's a really great Garifuna drumming school in Punta Gorda area and also near the lodge. And so there are opportunities for people who are keen to learn about traditional music and the Garifuna culture, which is considered really threatened, very endangered. And on site at the lodge, we do have a music library with local music that is available for guests to listen to and learn more about. And the Garifuna music is really unique. It's really special. Just this last month in November, they had the Battle of the Drums, which for people Next year, plan ahead, please, but we do offer a Battle of the Drums and Thanksgiving combo at the lodge, and it's a really great opportunity, so ideal for families, people who are interested in culture and music around the world. It's a really cool opportunity to experience that, and it takes place right there in town, and we have some special experiences and encounters set up for that trip specifically. And then also at the lodge for Thanksgiving, Rob and Marta do a really nice traditional Thanksgiving meal supplemented with some local specialties as well. But the Garifuna drumming is a really interesting experience, and we just get such great feedback on it. Also exciting developments in the area. Just last year, a zip line was built in the Big Falls area, just outside of the lodge, about 5-10 minutes away, by two local guys who are from Big Falls. It's really nicely done. I have to say, I've done other zip lines in Belize, and it's really, really nicely crafted. It's a double line, as you can see. They've done all the safety measures that they need to do, and it's great. I would say that it's also very manageable for preteens and teens. You go out over the river, through the platforms, and through the forest. It's really fun. I had a great time. Also, we do great kayaking trips. There's a couple different routes, just day kayaking for birding, monkeys, iguanas, just a lot of creatures, and that's a nice opportunity as well for people to get out and spend some time on the water. Like I said, we have inner tubes available at, just throughout the day, and people can grab them and do the float. Halfway through, there's a little hot springs that you can take a dip in, and then as you come around the bend, you can easily get out of the river. There's a staircase there, and you end up back at the lodge. So that's a highlight I think for all of our guests. On site, the lodge is really relaxed. We have ping pong and badminton and the swimming pool, just lots of activities. So families really enjoy it, and I think you, as agents and operators, would agree that Americans specifically are really keen to jam-pack their holiday with activities. But we do find when people get to the lodge, they just really wind down, and they take advantage of the time and activities there, and it's great. The great thing about the lodge, in addition, the bird watching and all the activities we have, you don't have to go anywhere. And we constantly get such great feedback that everything is so close, and people don't feel like they're spending their holiday in a vehicle. They feel like they're spending their vacation out doing things. Then to just kind of review this, if you look halfway on this map on the coast, you do see Monkey River. I want to touch on that because I didn't include any slides, but we're the only lodge now in the Toledo District that offers the Monkey River tour, which is a really great place for travelers to see howler monkeys, crocs, a variety of bird life, iguanas. It's just really interesting, and it's close by, so that's a great option for people who are staying a little bit longer. Now, as Rob mentioned, the Southern Highway is now paved. That's the purple line you can see. So the lodge at Big Falls is down there in the lower left, and then Placencia is up where the letter B is, and it's just a really nice combo to do a rainforest and beach experience. There's the peninsula itself. If you see on the left-hand side, there's a dotted S-curve line. That's actually a ferry system that runs back and forth. It's a tried and true local ferry. I used to personally use it for my travelers when I was in consumer sales, and people really enjoy it. What will happen is Lodge at Big Falls will transfer your clients up to Mango Creek there, and we'll notify the property on Placencia, and they'll take the ferry across, which saves them a good chunk of time rather than having to go all the way up and around the peninsula. And they'll be met on the other side and taken to their beach property, and it's really seamless. It works really well. And like I said, it keeps that transfer to kind of just about an hour of driving, which is really nice. A few details there on the Placencia Peninsula. Lots of great properties from high-end places like Chabal Mar and in at Roberts Grove to more moderate places like up in Maya Beach we have Singing Sands, and then also we're going to touch on a couple other on a key that is available for people who want an experience of being out on a key. This is Singing Sands. I'm just going to mention these. We prefer that you select your beach accommodation and just handle that directly, or if you're a travel agent, I'll mention later, if you do want to book with one of our U.S. preferred tour operator partners, we can point you in the right direction there. But I'm just suggesting these properties because we've found that they pair really nicely with the lodge in terms of experience. So this is Singing Sands. It's in the Maya Beach area. It's a very short taxi drive to the Placencia town for people who want to go into the town. The beach there is quite nice. These cabanas, the 6 cabanas, were just refurbished about 2 years ago, and they're simple and comfortable and really nice. It's a great spot. I had lunch there recently, and the food was quite good, and the service was nice. The beach is really nice. Then the other opportunities, so there are properties up and down the Placencia Peninsula on the mainland, which I think is a really smart move. Unless you have people who are really keen divers and snorkelers, then they probably should be out on Turnef, one of the keys, or Hatchet Key. But being on the peninsula is nice because, you know, if people don't want to just sit on the beach for 3 or 4 days, they can do some other activities. They can go into the Coxcomb Nature Reserve. They can go into town. They can walk into town and get some gelato. There's a great gelato place. There's some local restaurants. So it just provides a little bit more to do. Some of the keys are very small. As you can see, Hatchet Key is really tiny. There's nothing out there but the accommodation. So I find for honeymooners, for divers, for snorkelers, that's great. Families tend to prefer to be on the mainland because they want the variety of activities when someone gets bored day 2 on the beach. So Hatchet Key is a great option. You transfer to Placencia and then it's a boat ride out there. And this is a really nice spot for snorkeling and diving. They do also do exclusive use. Maximum of 26 people, so for multi-generational families it would be a great option to pair Lodge at Big Falls and Hatchet Key. As you can see, the rooms are really simple but very beautiful, right there overlooking the water. So this is a really nice option as well. Lots of activities. And then just briefly, I do want to mention that we do offer FAM rates are available on request. Last year we did, in April, we did offer a group FAM trip, and we may be doing that again this year. Stay tuned for that. But what I'll do, Tad and myself will email you information on the lodge. We'll send you our packages and our rates. We find that April and May and then October and November are really great times to come. It's not as busy for us, and so getting you FAM rates and taking the time to really show you around is really easy for us. So please take advantage of those. We're more than happy to do that. And then as I mentioned earlier, any agents who are listening, travel agents who specialize in a lot of different areas, if you feel that you would like to book through a U.S.-based tour operator that can handle a greater itinerary within Belize, or a U.S. tour operator who has a lot of experience in Belize, please just let us know. We have some really great trade partners in North America that Tad and I can refer you to that prepare wonderful documents, pre-departure documents for your clients, and operators that have worked with us for a really long time. So we can go ahead and send you those as you're interested. Then of course the links to Lodge at Big Falls and also the Kusini Collection website are there. As we approach 2013, Tad and I will be continuing our series of webinars throughout Africa, and we're expanding our Latin America portfolio right now to Argentina and Peru as well. So watch that space, and please stay tuned. And then anyone who has questions, please do type those in. I am just looking through them right now, so bear with me here. Okay, I will send, what I'll do is I'm going to send more information on the variety of tours, and in that we'll have some info. Tracy, thank you for the questions on the chocolate. It's called Green and Black's Maya Gold is the chocolate bar. And what I'll send you is our packages, which we have a variety of different focuses. Most of them are a really good blend of all of the activities that you've seen. So I can go ahead and I'll send those out to you. Those will also have the net and rack rates there, so you can take a look at those and reference those. Also, Tracy, the ceiling at the Blue Creek Cave is not low. It's very high. There aren't really, people can basically go as far into the cave as they want. It's dark, so if people do have claustrophobia issues, bear that in mind. We had one gal on our trip who didn't want to go in, and she just sat out the mouth of the cave and enjoyed the surroundings, which is really beautiful forest, and you get a great view of the cave. We do supply waterproof headlamps and life jackets, but I didn't find it to be particularly closed in. And then we will archive this presentation, so you'll be able to see that, and we'll send that out to you on our website. So we'll send you that link. I'm just reading through the questions. And then we do also provide, hold on here, one second. My questions are moving as I'm reading them. Yes, we can absolutely set up themed group experiences. If you wanted to do, let's say, a culturally focused tour, we could do that. We could do a culinary focused tour, music focused, active adventure. We don't offer any quote-unquote group departures per se. Some of our North American trade partners do if you're looking to sell into a group departure, but all of our tours are customizable and available to cater to your clients. Yes, Lori, I will send you information on tour operators that will book the Lodge at Big Falls as well as beach experiences. I'll send that off to you, so stay tuned there for that. The meals are served buffet style. We also do plated. It's a combination. We do barbecues by the swimming pool. Breakfast, we have cereals and yogurt set out in the morning, and then they have a variety of hot breakfast items to choose from. There's absolutely no shortage of food. Transfers to and from the airport in Punta Gorda are included in all of our package rates, and I do think I recommend having Rob, unless you are a travel agent booking through a U.S. tour operator, have Rob book your client's flights from Belize City to Punta Gorda, because then we're able to control that. We do give commissions, and we can make the packages as inclusive as you prefer. And like I said, all the agents who are interested, we will send out a list of tour operators to work with Paula and Tracy, and we have all of your email addresses, so bear with us today and we'll get those out to you. The Cucini Collection, we are a boutique representation and marketing company based in Seattle, Washington. We have clients throughout Africa. Classic Africa Safaris is a ground handler in Rwanda and Uganda specializing in primate tours, birding tours, wildlife safaris, game watcher safaris, and the Prini camps in Kenya. We also ground operate in Tanzania. New Frontiers Tours is a ground handler based in Durban, South Africa. We operate in South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. And then Ultimate Safaris in Namibia, H&T Argentina in Argentina, and Tucano Tours in Peru, as well as the Lodge at Big Falls. So stay tuned. Whether you are Africa or Latin America focused trade partner, we're here to support you and assist with customizing itineraries and making suggestions, providing images as you need. So any way that you need support from us, just let us know. And as well, thank you, Nancy, for that question. We will be sending out, I'll send out a list of accommodations that we recommend, not just in Placencia, but throughout the coastal experiences in Belize, as well as a couple up in the Cayo district and also into Guatemala and the Tikal area, because that makes a really nice circuit. Okay, so we're going to sign off for now. People who have additional questions, please do email us, info, I-N-F-O, at Kusini, which is K-U-S-I-N-I, collection.com. And we'll get back to you with any of those questions. I will also be sending you Rob's contacts. He does handle the booking and reservations and availability for the lodge, so you'll be able to email Rob directly as well. Thanks again, Rob, for joining us from Belize. I'm jealous as I look out the window here in Seattle, and it's pretty gray and rainy and cold today. I'm wishing I was in Belize right now.
It's a beautiful sunny day here, and I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to join the webinar and hear a bit about the lodge. Another place where you can find some very good pictures of the lodge is at our Facebook page. So if you go to Facebook, type in the Lodge at Big Falls, and look through the photo albums where you can also find photos of our tours and Monkey River and other places around.
Yeah, same thing along
Thank you
those.
very much indeed. We look forward to welcoming your clients.
Yeah, also along the line of Facebook, the Kusini collection has a Facebook page as well that I have extensive photos from our last April exploratory tour. So check those out and go ahead and like us on Facebook, and you can follow Kusini Co Rep R-E-P on Twitter, and we do update that really often too. So we look forward to visiting you, and we'll be sending full info. Oh, sorry, I see one last really good question. What's the best time to visit? Rob, you can chime in here. Belize really is a year-round destination. I know the North American market does have concerns about hurricanes. The Toledo District, honestly, it doesn't seem to be as high risk as other areas. If people do want to travel during August, September, October, we do recommend travel insurance. But it is really a year-round destination. Rob, what are your favorite times of the year?
Well, my favorite time of the year for the climate is November, December, January, and February, when we get lows of 58. That's about as cold as it gets at nighttime ever, and daytime temperatures of 75 to 80. But we also get some gray, overcast days, and if you've got people who are concerned about the heat, then that's a good time to travel. The dry season is normally 2.5 months, March, April, May. June, July, August is the rainy season. But as one of our guests said, what they don't tell you about the rainy season is when it ain't raining, the sun comes out. So it's very rare that any of our guests have to cancel a trip because of the weather. And when it is raining, the majority of the rainfall falls at night.
Excellent. Perfect. We'll be sending out, thanks, Rob. We'll be sending out more resources today, and we'll try not to overwhelm you with information, but we'll send you some links and rates and packages and all of that. And those of you who are interested in receiving information on U.S. tour operators who are our partners, we'll go ahead and send those out as well. So stay tuned for that, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll let you know when we're doing our next webinar coming up probably in January. So thanks and have a great day.
Bye.